Adobe has had a long-standing history and track record for creating tools for web professionals and even acquiring companies like Macromedia to have the best-of-breed tools for creative professionals, for web developers. And we won't stop that. As you saw, we are still innovating. We created a tool a year ago called Adobe Muse. And Muse fits right in as the tool for designers to create professional-looking websites without having to deal with writing or being exposed to the code. So we have now tools for both. The site you're looking at now, which is actually live on the internet for anyone that wants to go check it out, it's called thewildisles.com. And this site it keeps getting involved, keeps getting updated. Every time Muse gets new features, they go in and update the site. This particular site has a hero slideshow that is kind of scrolling through. As I scroll, the content scrolls up over it. You notice that the top button, which was faded out, begins to appear. Leaves are scrolling up and down at a rate faster than the scroll rate, using the scroll motion effects. And of course, I can jump to any particular page in the site, and I can continue to scroll and look at content. And this is, again, nicely designed, beautiful graphics. This guy's screaming. He's pretty happy about Muse. And what if I told you you could make a site like this or similar to this without having to go through all the stuff that Paul showed you, without having to type anything other than the content? And I'm in Muse CC, which just got updated. Now, when I click New Site, I always tease the Muse team. The first thing you're giving users that have never done this before is a list of options that they have no idea what to do with. Luckily, first time in Adobe's product new history, the defaults are okay. Just click OK. First time. You never have to worry about changing them. Now, if you do want to change them, you can, and I am going to make one change. I'm going to tell it to give me 5 columns, but that's it. Click OK on the rest. Now, how many of you have ever used InDesign before? Okay, we've had this long-standing passion and wanting to go from InDesign to the web because we're so happy with InDesign. We know how to use it. It's easy. We'd love to just turn it into a website. And there have been attempts at that. InDesign does have an HTML export that hasn't been touched in years because the workflow just doesn't work. You're trying to take a static print layout that's fixed size on a piece of paper and turn it into something that's reflowable and scalable and all that. So rather than try and cobble that all into InDesign, we built a tool from the ground up for designers that works like InDesign to be able to do this. Now, you've used InDesign before. You know that little thing in the upper right-hand corner called the Pages panel? This is the Pages panel. If you were to make the Pages panel the full size of the screen, that's what you're looking at right now. So you're seeing your not document pages, but web pages at the top, master pages at the bottom. You want to create more pages? You can do it from the menu, keyboard shortcut, but let's go ahead and make a new page. So I'm going to call this one Products. And we'll make a new page. We'll call this one Services. And I think you know what's coming next. About Us. And you know what comes after that? Say it with me. Contact Us. Absolutely. And since most companies really don't want to be contacted these days, we'll just go ahead and put that under here. That was a joke. Okay, so you can have hierarchical pages, you can drag around, you can put them in any order you want, any stacking order you want, and again, adjust your layout. So you're building the planning stage of the site. What pages you will have. You can have as many as you want, linked any way you want. And of course, it's 2013, so you would expect multiple undos. All right, now that we're here, the next thing is the master page. So if I go to the master page, double click on it, I would expect to be able to lay things out. Now, let me start off with one concept right here. First of all, let me describe what's going on. The dark gray area is the browser fill. That's the area of stuff or page behind your content that fills the person's entire browser. That could be a color, it could be a gradient, it could be a pattern, it could be an image, it could be whatever you want behind your content. Then you have top of page, you have footer, bottom of page, and you have bottom of browser fill. What's this page thing you keep talking about? That's this rectangle right here. You know why there's a rectangle right here called a page? To make you feel better. You're coming from a world where you're used to putting things on a page. There you go. Put things on a page, like you always did. Once you get past that concept, I'm going to say browser fill white, and I'm going to say page fill with nothing and no stroke. I got rid of the page. Because I've graduated. I don't need a page anymore. I don't have to have one. It is totally optional. Now it's up to you to start laying out your content. And by the way, let's say I wanted to go grab my logo. So I'd go File, Place, and I'd go find my graphic wherever it is out here somewhere. And here's the problem though. I don't remember where it is. So in this new update for Muse, one of the things that's been added is the ability to create your own library of things you use on a regular basis. So I use my logo on a regular basis, just drag it out onto the page. And ooh, I'm hanging off the page. Ooh, oh my God, is that gonna work? Yes, doesn't matter. It's not print, it's not gonna be cropped. So let's go ahead and also size it down a little bit, make the logo a little smaller. And by the way, notice I didn't hold down the Shift key because it's 2013 and I shouldn't have to. And if I want to rotate it, it will let me rotate it, and it's doing the right things. It's writing that in CSS. So it's doing the right thing for the actual code. Now I've got the logo in place. What do I want next? If I go back and look at the site, everything's been updated. If I were to launch this site right now, not only would it be the most boring site on the internet, but what else would be a problem? You'd be stuck on the home page forever and bored because there's no content. But you wouldn't be able to get past the home page because we're missing what? Navigation. So I don't know how to make a navigation bar, whatever those things are called, navigation bar. However, anytime I see widgets, templates, or presets in an Adobe product, that can only mean goodness. So in the widgets panel, there's a menus panel. I can go ahead and drag out a horizontal menu, put it anywhere I want. Now that menu came in and it knew about my other pages. It knew about my structure because it's dynamically updated with whatever page changes you make. You go add a page, the menu's update. You delete a page, the menu's update. You change the order, the menu's updated automatically. The other thing you'll notice is it came in this drab, gray and white, boring look, and that's intentional. We dumb down or bore all the widgets down to make you design them better, to force you not to stick with light gray and white, basically to force you to make it look better. And you can do that any way you want. So if you want to change, here we'll zoom out, if you want to change it to a different color, change it to a different color. And of course you have your states panel, which will let you control the state for each one. So for the normal state, if I don't want a rectangle, then I'll change the fill to none. But of course, that's going to be white type on a white background, so that's not going to look good. Change the type to a color that will show up. Now that I've done that, let's change the font to a different font. And again, we'll get into fonts in just a moment. I'm just going to pick Helvetica for now. And there we are. So I've got a menu that looks like that when it's normal, and looks like this when it's active. And again, I can go back and change the active state to be whatever I want it to look. And of course, that's not going to be good for active. So let's go change that back to white. Okay, so now let's go back. Normal looks like that. Active looks like that. So it's just that easy to make the changes you want to your menus. I should have active states for all the pages that I have, and that's what the menu would look like in its active state. So far so good. I want to style the home page a little differently. I can either do that manually, or I can go in and create a new master. Now, of course, I don't want to style the master from scratch, so I can drag over one master on top of the other and just do it that quickly. The next thing I want to do is go to that new master and change the one thing I want, which is the browser fill. I don't want a color this time, I want an image. So I'll just go choose image, and here. All right, so we'll grab this background image and fill it, but I don't want it to tile. That would look silly. So let's go ahead and center it, and let's say that it doesn't tile, instead it scales to fill. So now that I've got that master created, we'll close these other pages, and I can simply take that new master and style the home page with it, just that easily. Now I'll go to the home page. I want to lay out some content. So Edge Animate is one of the file formats that Muse can place directly. Now think about what can Muse place. Well, obviously image formats that are already on the web, JPEG, GIF, PNG. It can place, if you're back in the Flash days, Swift files. It can also place Edge animations. So let's do that. File, place. And let's go grab an Edge Animate file, which is an OAM file when you export it from Edge. There it is. We'll go ahead and click on that. We get our placement gun just like InDesign. We can click and place this anywhere we want, pick it up, move it around. And now I want to see what this actually looks like. So I can preview it right in Muse because Muse has WebKit built in. Or let's say I don't trust that. I want to preview it in a browser. So preview page in browser, write the HTML on the fly, open it up in my default browser, show me the edge animation that's happening right now, show me my rollovers and how they look, and it's working already. And I didn't write a single line of code to get this far. Next, let's go back, and now let's take a look at one of the other pages, place some content. So we know that we can place JPEG, GIF, PNG, OAM, SWIFT, one more. File, place, here's something we're not used to placing, a PSD. Photoshop file. Why? Whoa, wait, hold on, stop. You're going to break the web. Stop it. It worked. Chrome doesn't know anything about a PSD, but it worked. Muse created an optimized JPEG on the fly. Then you're probably saying, well, why did you do it in the first place? Why didn't you just place a JPEG? Because if I'm going to have an image that constantly changes or gets updated on a regular basis, then it's easier for me to just right-click on this and say Edit Original, head over to Photoshop, go in, turn on, turn off any layers that I want to do, save it, close it, come back to Muse, and it's updated. So that's why I'd place a PSD. What about, thank you, what about adding text? So if I want to add text to this, I can go to my type tool, just like I would in InDesign. I can drag out a text frame, just like I would in InDesign, and I can begin typing. We have the best products ever. Okay, now I want to change the font on that, and actually I want to make that frame a little bit longer, just in case. And let's change the font on that. Uh-oh, here's where designers lose their mind. Because fonts, up until now, as a web designer, graphic designer, you've been in complete control. You go buy a font, download a font, install a font, use a font, print a font. You control the whole workflow from start to finish. Export a PDF, font's embedded. Package it, send it to someone else, the font's included. But what you don't control is everyone else's browser and what fonts they may or may not have installed. So when I go to my font menu, I have three choices. First of all, let's start with WebSafe. WebSafe are the 11 fonts that you hate. Comic Sans. Nothing says party like Times Roman. Over a decade, they've been built into everything. They've been built into every browser, every operating system, every mobile device, everything. That's why they're safe. You use one of these 11 fonts, it will work on everything. And I got to imagine, I started thinking about this. Why 11 versus 12 versus 10? Why an odd number? Why these? And it hit me. The committee that probably picked these because they're royalty-free probably. There's no one asking for you to be paid to use these. So if I don't want to use the fonts that suck, wait, here are all my fonts. Yay, my fonts. Well, don't get excited. Bad. Yes, you can use any one of your fonts, only if you're willing to have it be an image on the page. So that means really don't use your fonts very often. If you're going to make an image for one specific spot, then you might as well use the type here to make the image for you. All right, if that can't work and I don't want to use the 11 WebSafe, then what's left? We have this third category called web fonts. And web fonts, typekit fonts, are built into Muse, Dreamweaver, Edge Animate, 400 plus fonts available for you to use. Go ahead and no additional cost. You can go ahead and pick whatever fonts you want. Doesn't matter where you're hosting your site. Here, I'll pick a script here for this city. Let's use, I don't know, Ruthie. Yeah, that's cute. Okay, so we'll use Ruthie. Let's go ahead. Yeah, I have to pick a new one for each city. So we'll use Ruthie for New York, and there it is. And Command-Shift greater than works just like InDesign to make it larger. So I can pick this up, put it anywhere I want. Now keep in mind, that font was downloaded and installed inside of Muse. InDesign doesn't see it, Illustrator doesn't see it, none of the other apps see it, because this was a typekit web font in Muse. But watch what happens. File, page, preview, and browser. It's there as text. Chrome doesn't know anything about that font, but Muse wrote one line of code that says, go to the Typekit server and show this font to anyone that views this page. That's how it works. Okay, so that's Muse 101. Quick update for those of you who haven't seen it. Now, we just came out with an update last week. What's new? I'm very happy with what's new. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. First thing that's new is there's this new Adobe Muse Exchange. When I click Muse Exchange, that will take me to a web page, and it will take me to all of the new things I can download and use on my Muse site, most at no charge. So these are all the cool things you can add to Muse. I'm not going to spend time here because you can go back and look at it on your own. Next, the library, which I already talked about. And let's go to back to the master pages for a moment. Let's go to this master page. And let's say I want to put some social media stuff like follow me on Twitter, like my page, follow me on Facebook, so forth and so on. Well, in the past, that would mean going to the respective social media sites, finding the developer code, finding how to create a like button, grabbing the code, pasting it in as HTML inside of Muse to get that button. You don't have to do that anymore. Widgets, social, new category inside Muse. All kinds of social widgets. So you want a Twitter follow, drag the Twitter follow onto the page. It will ask you, you know, what account. I don't want it to be Adobe Muse. I want it to be Terry L. White for Twitter. Hit return. It updates in a few seconds. I've got more followers than Muse. All right, so anyway, there it is, ready to go. Next, if I wanted, I don't know, PayPal like button, drag out a PayPal like button. I'm sorry, not PayPal, Facebook like button. And there it is. I was looking at PayPal and I was dragging out Facebook.
I like money from
Yes, I like money from PayPal too. Okay, there it is. So whatever you need, Google Maps, whatever. So for example, if we go back to the one of the pages here, all of them updated with that thing I just did. But let's go to the services page. And let's say I want to put a video up about our services. Well, Muse never has and still doesn't have a place video command. Your video usually has to be hosted somewhere, whether it's YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, whatever. And you'd have to go get the embed code to do it. Now, you want a YouTube video? Just go ahead and drag out a YouTube widget. And you can go ahead and drag this widget out and put it anywhere you want on your page. And away you go with your video. Now, how do I change it from Terry White's video that's in the default in the program to the video I actually want to use? Well, in the flyout menu, there is the code for the default video. Just go to YouTube, which we can go do real quick. Let's do that. YouTube.com. Find your video that you want. I'll go to my page. And actually, we'll go to the video manager. And here I'll do the what's new in the CC update. And here's the code that it's looking for, this code at the very top after the equal sign. So we'll copy that. And we don't need to actually play the video.
So fast.
I know, right? Happened so fast, we're back in Muse. All right, so let's go back, paste and hit enter. And after a few seconds, it'll go out, look, and bring in the new video. So that's social widgets, great addition, makes it much easier to add content to your pages. And like I said, these can be sized and scaled as well, and it will update with the appropriate aspect ratio. All right, next, let's close this or jump out of this. And let me show you quickly my favorite new widget, my favorite new thing. I'm a photographer, as you know. And one of the things that's always bugged me a little bit about Muse is the slideshows were okay, but just not big enough. I want a full page slideshow. So I'm going to create a new site really quick. Click OK. And on the home page, I'm going to drag out a widget, slideshows. We have a new full screen slideshow. Drag it out. I can now go grab my images. I'll grab all the images I want. It will replace the sample images. Thank you, Muse team. It's loading 20 images, sampling them to the right size. And then at that point, I can turn on and off whatever other categories or content I don't want or want. Because I have layers, I can go in and create a new layer. Find my layers panel there we go. New layer to put anything I want above it. So I can go in and say that, for example, I want a nice little bar here filled with white, but of course we'll lower the opacity on that. There we go. And then, of course, I want my logo. Should just go ahead and drag that in because we can. Size that down, put that where we want, and any other content I want. Would you like to see what this page really looks like? Let me show you a finished version. Open site, open recent, here we go. This is what the finished version of this page looks like. And let's preview it in browser. Full screen slideshow that starts to animate in, I think I said 4 seconds, but whatever. Filling up the screen with those beautiful images that I took, thank you. And also, because it's full screen, it will do a good job on most displays. And I've optimized the version for tablet and phone as well. Now, for those who are going to ask the question, when you're done with your site, then what? Well, we have to give you 3 options. As a Creative Cloud member, as a full member of Creative Cloud, you get Muse obviously, and you get hosting for up to 5 websites as part of your plan. So if I wanted to publish this, I would just hit the publish button and it will prompt me and say, okay, what do you want the name of your site URL to be at .businesscatalyst.com, and your site's up on the web. So if you wanted to see this site on the web right now, so twpcc.businesscatalyst.com. So that was one I published right when this feature came out. So that site's live on the internet right now. But let's say you want to host it somewhere else. Option number 2, file, upload to FTP host, anywhere you have hosting. And last but not least, you want to hand it off to someone like Paul to do more with it. Export as HTML. We'll export the entire site as a folder of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, images, all neatly packaged in different folders that work for the entire site. So that's how you get it uploaded. One more thing. Let's go back to one of these pages where I've got some room here. Let's open up the About Us page. And let's pull this down a little bit. I'm going to make a nice long page. One of the fads in web design are these long scrolling pages with effects on them. And you saw that leaf that was scrolling at a different scroll rate. Well, we've had scroll effects in Muse now for quite a while, but the scroll effects themselves have now been updated. Here, let me grab one from the library just to save time. I've got a scroll effect already applied to this one, so I'm just going to pull it down a little bit more. Let's see if that's long enough. Okay, a little bit more. This one, there we go. This one's going to do motion. It's going to come down at a rate of 2 times the scrolls and then bounce up and over at a rate of 2 and 3. So when I click opacity, I can have it fade in at a certain spot, fade up to 100%, and fade out at a certain spot. So that's what you see as the circular keyframes. The one at the top is the fade in. The one down below here is the fade out, and you can drag those anywhere you want. So now if we were to preview this page, preview page in browser, and we start scrolling, here comes our leaf that fades in from nothing, bounces, and fades out. Opacity. Now, thank you, it gets better. The other thing we can do, see if I've got one here. Go ahead and drag this in. This is an edge animation, the same one I showed you before that says the word sale. And notice it's got a scroll effect on it because now we can not only do opacity, but these last 2 tabs, you can have it control a slideshow. As the person is scrolling down, the slideshow can be changing frames. Or it can autoplay when it gets to a certain spot. And you can do an edge animation that auto plays or switches frames every so many pixels as you scroll down. And I usually get the position wrong on this, but let's try it. Preview page in browser. And there we go. Here comes our leaf. And there's our edge animation. This started to play when I got down to that spot. So you can control multiple object types now with the scroll effects. If you head over to muse.adobe.com, the entire page has been designed with scroll effects. So as I scroll down this page, these are the things you can do with scroll effects in Muse CC. It's one long page. This might be a little over the top. Most of you would have given up by now. But I'm going to keep going.
And then the rains came.
Right. All without writing a single line of code. What do you think?